Poyer along with Jim Henrik in Houston. Here's the rundown for Heat 1A, including two of the hot boats, the Tosti Asti and the Budweiser for Heat 1A. And while we're here, let's take a close-up look at the drivers. Jerry Hoff out of the Seattle area driving the Rampage 3. Todd Yarling out of Madison, Indiana, and the driver of the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit. The defending champion down here in Houston, E. Milner Irvin, and the Miss Renault, owned by Jerry Shana. Ron Armstrong, the Bob Patterson Special. It has lately just been named the Houston Gold Cup 85. Jim Kropfeld, the national champion, and the national championship boat, the Budweiser. And Steve Reynolds with the Miss Tosti Asti, hoping to have a much better day than in the past couple of races. All six boats are now running for Heat 1A here at Clear Lake near Houston, Texas. You see the Tosti Asti on the left, the Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit on the inside, and they look very early. Let's wait and see if they beat the gun. They're all right. They just made it. The Tosti Asti with Steve Reynolds with a bit of a lead as they go in, but look at lane number 2. That's the Budweiser with Jim Kropfeld. Great acceleration into this very, very wide first turn. It's almost like a straightaway, as a matter of fact. And they'll be going down the back chute into a very, very tight second turn. The Budweiser in first place in lane number 1 back a ways is the Miss Renault with Milner Irvin. The Budweiser, though, in first place. But look at Steve Reynolds in the Tosti Asti. He had a great start, as we saw. He was very early, but he made it in time. And right now, he's got the lead over the Budweiser going down the main straightaway. But wait a minute, he's slowing down. Here comes the Bud back into the lead. More frustration for the Tosti Asti crew and driver Steve Reynolds. The boat has been running pretty well here in Houston. They've been dealing with the salt water again, and oh my goodness, more frustration. Let's hope their day is not over. The Budweiser, the national champion for 1984, with Jim Kropfeld in first place, coming down the main straightaway after that very tight turn of probably around 600 feet in diameter. That is the limit, the minimum limit for unlimited hydroplane courses. Speed for the Budweiser in lap number 1, as you see the Tosti trying to get started, 123.0 miles per hour. The Miss Renault moving up on the inside, however. Milner Irvin giving chase to the Budweiser. Third place, the Houston Gold Cup 1985. Ron Armstrong, the driver of that boat. As you see the Renault move up inside against the Bud. Kropfeld in the Bud against Milner Irvin and the Renault has moved out in first, coming out of that wide turn. Going down the main straightaway, the back chute rather. In first place now is the Miss Renault with a Budweiser in second place. Joe Ritchie Spirit of Detroit in fourth place with Todd Yarling out of Madison, Indiana. Coming in now that very tight turn, the Budweiser has regained the lead. Going into, as I said, a very tight, very tough turn for a heavy boat like the Bud, but they've got the power to make up for it. The Renault holding tough on the inside, a very light boat that has a turbocharged Allison engine. There it is again now, as you see the Budweiser again falling back against the Miss Renault as they complete lap number 2. The Renault speed 119 miles per hour, the Budweiser 115, but again the Bud on those long straightaways able to accelerate and catch up with Milner Irvin and the Miss Renault. The Renault has to be favored in the turns, the Bud of course in the straightaways. The Rampage 3 in 5th place, that's Jerry Hoff out of the Northwest. The Budweiser again back into the lead, something we've seen now in this heat. He leads after the straightaway. The Miss Renault comes out of the turn first. Jim Kropfeld, one of the best in the business. 6 victories already for the Bud in 1984. 10 victories as an unlimited hydroplane driver for Kropfeld. Milner Irvin, he's the defending champion, of course, in the World Championships in Houston here. They go 6 laps, by the way, and since this is the world title, they go 6 rather than the customary 5 laps. The Budweiser speed on lap number 3, 124.8 miles per hour, and he's beginning to extend that lead over the Miss Renault and Milner Irvin. That boat, a lot of problems. They had prop damage, not only in Seattle, but also San Diego. They missed the Ozarks race 1 week ago in order to prepare for the World Championships here in Houston. And they're doing pretty well. They're in second place. The Budweiser, again, going around that wide first turn and going down the main straightaway. The national champion. This is the last time we'll see this boat race ever. It will be retired after the Houston Championships. There's the Miss Renault in second place. Looks like Milner will settle for second place and pick up 300 points in Heat 1A. Currently in third place is Ron Armstrong in the U-80. That's the Houston Gold Cup 85, named to commemorate the race that'll be here next year, and that'll be the granddaddy of them all, the Gold Cup down here in Texas. The Budweiser coming around that very tight second turn as he comes wide. And of course, this boat, as I said, will be retired after this race. It has 23 victories all told. If they win today, the World Championship, they'll tie Bill Muncie's last boat, the Blue Blaster, which picked up 24. The Budweiser coming in first place for Heat 1A. 400 points for Jim Kropfeld and the Budweiser. Second place out of Miami, Milner Irvin and the Miss Renault for 300 points. And third place, Ron Armstrong in the Houston Gold Cup 85, the U80. And the results are as follows. The Budweiser winning it, moving on down the line. More frustration for the Tosti Asti, failing to get any points, failing to finish. Let's go to Jim Hendrick.
Jim, if you will, please. Over that camera's not too shabby, getting a leg up here on the World Crown.
Well, that's 400 points towards getting us in the final, which well, really counts. But of course, you got to do good here too.
What goes through your mind that this is the last race that you'll be running this sweet boat?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, I'll be glad to get a new one. I think with the Griffin engine, the way the guys got it fixed up now with reliability, with that new and lighter Ron Jones hull, the Miss Budweiser, the new one will be just fantastic.
Miss Budweiser, a lot of competition from Miss Renault in that last heat, so let's go over to Don and Milner Irvin.
All right, Jim, let's see if we can talk to Milner for a second. Congratulations, nice showing out there. The boat looks good.
Thank you, Don. It's fun to race, too. Jim's a super driver.
How is it handling out there?
Much better. I think we're handling probably better here. In our last race, San Diego, we got our bugs ironed out. It's definitely handling better than it has ever before.
Now, what about 6 laps?
That's the reason I slowed down. I ran out of fuel. We're really pressed for fuel. We're using methanol, and it just eats it up. And I'm really pushed to run 6 laps.
The drama developing at the Squire shop. Will they be ready for Heat 1B? Jim?
Well, Don, it's going to be very close if they're going to make this Heat 1B right now. You can see the mechanics are feverishly working on the back of that damage that happened in pre-race practice. Whether they'll make 1B, that remains to be seen. Back up to you.
We're in Houston, home of NASA and the astronauts. And Tom Deeth of the Light All-Star, looking much like one, heads out for Heat 1B. We'll be right back.